From MZ Studios in Dallas, Texas, you're listening to the Tennis Revolution podcast.
I've been waiting all week to get back to this abuse, and I know it's coming, but I'm here.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
By it, he means all of last week.
I'm back, baby. You are saved.
Thank you.
Here's what I got. First of all, Twitter was a buzz.
That was my goal.
And here's what the main tweet, to sum all the tweets up. Boring. Now, I'm kidding, of course. I'll
take boring over wrong. That's what I thought it was going to be.
No. Well, yeah, you were. I mean, you were. But I listened. Believe it or not, I listened.
You were the one?
Yes. We went from thousands and thousands of downloads down to just one last week, and it was me.
I didn't even download it. I couldn't.
He doesn't ever.
No.
And here's what I realized.
There's so many answers to this question.
Here's what I realized. So one thing is that you do bring something to the table.
Please, and tell me what that is.
No. I do. I think the balance of what we do is the key, because I make this cool.
Oh, yeah, of course.
If you listen to any other podcast, they don't do what we do.
No.
They don't do what we do. And so that was the one aspect that was missing was, well, me.
Yeah, of course.
And so the level of cool, but I think you provide the anchor. I'm flying around and flailing around.
I was definitely sinking this last week like an anchor.
Well, listen, it is difficult, as my hidden, lost episodes will attest to. It is impossible to do this thing by yourself.
I don't look at the clock ever when we're doing it together. I think that's the only thing I look at when I do it by myself.
You could.
I'm just looking at the watch the entire time.
You couldn't see the face of your watch because you were sweating all over it.
And the one damn week ever that a NextGen player beats Federer happens to be the week that I say it's never going to happen, and then it happens, of course. So I knew I was going to get some flack for that.
Yeah, that was, you missed that one.
But I don't even feel bad about that, because then what happened? He lost first round this week, so it's like, I don't think my prediction was, it was obviously wrong, but it was proven to be right after the fact.
Yeah.
That he's not better than Federer.
Correct.
Still, even though he's 12 years younger, however much.
Yeah. Holy moly. So I did not watch a lot of tennis. No, let me rephrase that. I did not watch a lot of professional tennis. I was on spring break with my team, of course. And basically, I hung out on an island and just watched.
Well, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Hey, I missed coming into the studio. Of
course.
But yeah,
I missed you too.
Only for one reason. But yeah, so the opportunities to watch professional tennis were few and far between. So,
right.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot. But like I said, my vacation began with your voice in my ear. So for whatever that's worth.
So put you off to a bad start. It can only go up from there.
Yeah, so you were in the unenviable position of, number one, recording by yourself. Number two, recording while the final was still going on.
Right.
And you just threw it out there.
Oh, yeah. And had I had doubt in the outcome, I could have potentially waited till the match was over. I could have said, let's wait and see, and then talk about it. But I was so sure of what was going to happen, I didn't even need to. Yeah,
it was... it started out like, hey, this is going to be exactly what happens. And then... Inconceivable! It just went awry.
And I think literally the point the recording ended was when... team won the second set, and then it was all downhill.
There's nothing you could do. Because once you turn off all this equipment, you don't know how to turn it back on.
No. And to be fair, I could have gone back. Someone said, why didn't you just edit it? I said, because that's, I'm not going to be that guy. I have no problem admitting that I was wrong.
Yeah, because we always say we don't do predictions.
Right.
And so...
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
We don't care about, obviously I have my soundboard back.
We follow in the footsteps of the real broadcasters like Bill O'Reilly. Do everything live.
Yeah, so I admire the fact that you jumped out on a limb.
And I didn't even get to see, because I was driving home, I didn't even get to see how Federer lost it. But from what I heard, he just kind of got knocked off the court in the third set. So that's not something you hear very often. Yeah, but
ultimately the only thing that matters is the fact that I've called the Djokovic slam, and that's really all I care about.
Although I will say, I agreed with you on that, but he does not look the greatest at the moment.
Dude, he had whatever disease everybody else had, whatever Serena had. They all
apparently. Oh, is that what it was?
I don't know, but it could have been.
And I don't think for these people, for him and Federer and all these tournaments even matter. They matter for all the other people that need to build the confidence and keep the rankings and all that, but I don't think it even matters for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they play them because they're fun.
Yeah. And they want the match. I mean, to me, these are like practice tournaments, whereas I think that's the problem with the other people. They take every tournament so seriously. These guys, it's like this is practice for the real tournaments.
Right.
And they don't even care. Like, I lose, oh darn, I get to go rest for 2 weeks before the next tournament. Big deal. They don't even care, I don't think.
So how much of Miami did you get to watch?
A lot more than I normally do. I normally, for some reason, don't seem to watch this much of this tournament, but this year I've been watching a lot, actually. I don't like that it's later, so it ends earlier. But besides that, I've been able to watch a lot. Not always live, but when do I ever watch anything live?
Well, let me ask you this. How much do you care about NCAA basketball?
Zero, believe it or not.
Thank goodness.
Are we the only two?
No, I don't care that much. I mean, I'll fill out a bracket just because it's some sort of,
I don't even do that.
Yeah, I didn't this year, really. I just told somebody, hey, I'm going all chalk. Write it down.
Yeah.
Done. All 4 ones are going to be in the Final Four. The 1s and 2s will be in the Final 8, the Elite 8.
I'm not sure any 1s and 2s have lost yet, have they?
Who cares?
I don't think they have.
Who cares? Some others have, which blew my whole go chalk thing, but who cares? What really got me started doing a bracket a few years ago is when some company, I can't remember who, offered a $1 billion if you got a perfect bracket. Or maybe not a perfect, I can't remember.
No, it was a perfect bracket originally, and I just found out it changed. I didn't even know that it changed. But now you have to get the first 4 days perfect. And then it's $1 million a year for 25 years or something. So the prize has gotten lower, but the achievement has gotten easier.
Wow. Well, I remember there was like one person that had something like down to the Final Four.
I didn't even know that anybody ever made it that far.
And whoever was offering the $1 billion, who was that?
I thought it was Warren Buffett originally.
Maybe. But anyway, they were trying to cut a deal to say, hey, you got it all right up to the Final Four.
Right.
I'll give you, whatever.
$50 million or $10 million or
whatever. I can't remember what it was if you walk away. And they didn't do it. And they got nothing. I think. That sounds right.
I didn't even know that happened, but it makes sense. But yeah, now you've got to go 48-0 to get paid.
Yeah, still though, $25 million's a lot.
Right. Yeah, and I don't even know that that also, when it first started, was before the play-in games, and I think that for some reason makes it even a little more difficult now. Just because
you count the first 4.
Well, you don't do you don't do those in your bracket, but just the fact that you have 4 teams that are coming in off a win seems to make those 4 teams have a little more chance of an upset than before.
I don't know. Who knows? Somebody knows. I don't know.
But yeah, in terms of sports weekends, people think this is one of the biggest, this 4-day span. But I've just never gotten into it. I was born in Missouri, and Missouri is no good in basketball anymore, and We don't have a big Division I college here in Dallas that's in there usually, so I just never got into it.
Well, if the benefit is a big giant bracket, and it's fun.
Right.
And it's not like tennis where you fill out a bracket and you don't get to see anything. They show literally every single game.
Right.
They're on like 4 different channels, like TNT, TBS, and whatever else.
True. It's everywhere.
And they have them all the games are sort of offset time-wise, so you can kind of, if you're deep in the second half of one that's really in there, you can watch that one while the other one's just starting.
And see, that's what tennis doesn't do that we've talked about that they could do a lot better job of. Instead of, even today, they were showing a match, and it was like, I think they showed Halep's match. It was literally almost a 3-hour match, and they showed almost every point of that match. In the meantime, you had all these other matches that were finishing and getting toward the end of it, and they didn't hardly ever click over.
Well, so, all right, hockey. Have you heard of it?
Yes, we don't play it here, but I have.
Yes, we do.
Well, we do.
Because the Pens came in and put the beat down. Not the beat down. I think it was 3-2. But the Pens.
Was that last night?
I was going to go, but our
I knew somebody that was there.
Yeah. Who?
Just a friend of mine. They said that the Stars lost. They didn't say who they played.
Oh, the Pens. Yeah, I normally go to the home match. So they play. The Penguins play Dallas home and away, one game, each every year. And so the Dallas one I try to go to every year, but yeah, we were flying back, so I couldn't go yesterday. What a bummer! Now, and I'm 0 for 2 on ones I've actually been there, and they would have won last night. Golly,
that's because you weren't there.
That could be it.
Yeah, but I just think that they don't.
Oh wait, my train of thought. Sorry.
Yeah.
So hockey. So if you watch the NHL channel, they don't. I don't know exactly how it works, but they don't have games on there a lot, but they have NHL on the fly.
Yeah.
And so you watch that, and it's sort of like the Red Zone channel-ish, but not really, because they also have live look-ins.
Right.
And so you could have 5-minute live look-ins where nothing happens.
Right, you're just hoping.
Yeah, and so you're just watching a random 5 minutes of, a team. Or they also sometimes, they go into a game and they show 2 or 3 minutes, but it culminates in a goal.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's not all happening live.
Right.
They record it, and then they back it up.
And I would be totally fine with that in tennis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't have 9 channels like the NCAA tournament has. So we can't, it's not going to be Tennis Channel, ESPN 8, the Ocho, I don't know, CNBC 8.
Right. CBS Sports, Fox Sports.
Fox Sports 1. They're not going to use a bunch of channels. You only have one, but you could have an on-the-fly kind of situation. You have your main match, and then, if the server is up 40-15, look away.
Right.
Look away.
Or, like, as soon as they go up a break, or even, let's say it's 5-2 in the set. The minute that set ends, say whenever this set ends, we're going to show you the tiebreak between, Raonic and team in its entirety.
So don't go look at it on the internet because it's already
and if you do, that's your decision, but they don't have to show it on the bottom of the screen. Because here's what they always do that I hate too. They love to show the set point. Like, why do I need to see that? I know because it's set point. I know what happens in the point. I don't need to see how they won the final point unless it was something notable, which it rarely is. Like, why can't they just flip over and show the person celebrating? Might as well. What's the difference?
Right.
Right. And they do that every match. Oh, meanwhile, on court 2, somebody's serving 5-1 in the third. Well, gee, I wonder what happens at 5-1, 40-love. Oh, they won the point to win the match. It's amazing.
And who cares how? That's not the fun part.
It doesn't matter at all.
I mean, to some degree, it can be.
Right.
But if it's one point you're watching and you already know the outcome based on circumstances, then, it's not that exciting.
Yeah, I think people are too caught up in the live, and obviously me saying this is kind of ironic because I don't watch anything live, but I don't think 5 minutes behind, I don't think is an issue.
Well, that's the difference. And the event itself isn't over, and no one else is watching that match except people that are there.
Right.
Because they're not showing it, in the U.S. anyway.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of players. I am in the tennis industry. You are in the tennis industry. Now, not in professional tennis, but, the tennis industry nonetheless. And there are a lot of players that I may have seen once or twice.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
And why? Because we have to watch Nadal beat somebody down 0-0
in
15 minutes. And miss out on the opportunity to see all these other random players that who knows might be something eventually.
Well, and the best part is once another court gets to 5-all or 5-4, don't mention what's happening. And then if it's not worth watching, don't show it. If it is, then you haven't told anyone the outcome yet, and you can go and show it when that other set's over. I don't need to watch the first 3 games of any set with any 2 players.
Right.
Ever, and that's the same with the NCAA, I would assume. Who's watching, unless you're really tied to that one team, who's watching the first 5 minutes of a basketball game?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. No. It's all right, though. But on the first couple days of the tournament, the sort of spectacle of it is that you have all these games going on, and you're not overly concerned about switching back and forth.
Right.
Because you're going to see, 2 games at least that overlap.
Right.
On 2 different channels. So you can kind of, so they don't need to do this broadcast thing like we're manufacturing the multi-channel version.
Right. Yeah, that's true. If you have a good, but I think even on in the NCAA tournament, if they got a blowout on CBS, they're pulling something else over to CBS.
No.
I think. They don't?
No. So every channel has a game. They're all offset time-wise. And if there's a blowout, you just change the channel.
Oh, so they don't ever bring a better game over?
No, but they don't have to.
Yeah, because plus it's all the same company, too.
It's all the same company,
so it doesn't matter.
And it's all basic cable stuff.
Yeah.
So not everybody is going to have, something beyond the main channel.
Well, that's why I thought they would pull the best game over to CBS no matter what.
And they might, but that could still be a blowout. So,
right. Well, no, I meant as it's happening. I didn't realize they didn't change.
They could.
I mean, maybe at the very end or something.
Not 100% sure about that, but nonetheless, the number one thing is all the games are offset time-wise, and they're all happening simultaneously on places you can get to. So it's more similar to the whole DirecTV angle of having all 7 courts or having 5 or 6 courts available besides ESPN2.
But we've talked about how terrible that is with the Fringe coming up, that they run both semis at the exact same start time, and we can only watch one of them.
Right.
Start the second one 30 minutes later. At least then we're going to get a little bit of, we can go back and forth a little, because they'll show the score of that second one all the way through the first one, and we don't end up watching any of it.
Yeah.
Until after the fact, we already know the outcome.
Right.
So if there was a little bit of staggered time, that would help.
Yeah. So, again, I think go take a look at NHL channel and look at NHL on the fly and see how they do it. And, now they have one thing I would want less of that they do is they have a studio set up, and it's like people commentate, and then they go here, they go here.
Right.
But mostly it's all cutaways to games. Most of it.
I mean, Tennis Channel has gotten into a little bit of that with center court, but they only do it from tournament to tournament. They don't do it from court to court in a tournament.
Right.
Which to me doesn't make sense. To me, that's more complicated.
That's because they're trying to get a piece of everything going on at once and trying to, that's tennis's fault for scheduling entire tournaments, at the same time. There's not a lot they can do about that. But
but the good thing is, at Miami, you've got so many courts going on. Well, like even today, Raonic and Edmond were playing, and Halep and Hercog, and to me, those are similar in terms of stature or attraction. And they showed 95% of Halep and 5% of Raonic and Edmond.
Well, here's the other thing, is that if you don't have commentators that can bring heat about these matches and sell them and basically do what we do, I'm telling you, our previous experience commentating matches did not go as planned. And I must say, mainly all me. But it's the first time I'd ever done it, so I'll get better.
Yeah, we have an excuse that we haven't done it before.
But, well, you did. But you were better than I was, though. So I'll get better, and together we'll get better. But think about the mentality of this podcast during an ATP or WTA tournament.
Yeah.
Think about that dynamic, that energy, some professional help with some details and some information about these players, because we do no research.
Yeah.
But you think about all of that, and I can't think of a group or a team or an individual commentator that brings it like that ever.
Right.
And so, yes, of course, you end up with, a random match between two people you don't know, and it's boring.
Right.
Because they can't do it. They can't bring it.
I'm amazed. Aren't you amazed? One thing you're kind of talking about is when you watch a match with a player and you finish the match and you still feel like you know nothing about that player.
Right.
I mean, I was watching Federer Albot, and granted, I didn't watch the whole match, but I got done with that match.
New I understand why you.
And I didn't know. I still know nothing about Albot. Couldn't tell you where he's from, when he became pro, what his career. And to me, that's the stuff you've got to learn about as you're watching a match that they got to throw in. Outside of the very beginning of the match, when they always introduce the players, those things got to be coming as you're playing, as the match is going on.
Right. So, and they have because you're talking about a court with two people.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Two people.
You ought to have 10 pages on each player.
You have 20 seconds of downtime between every single point.
Right.
You don't have 90 seconds on the changeovers because usually commercials, which is fine. But you have ample time in between to, just piece together some information outside of what you should be doing in between those 20 seconds, during those 20 seconds, in terms of strategy and what's working and whatever, and recounting, the point or what have you. But yeah, it's yes.
But football is always the gold standard. But when a linebacker makes a tackle, we immediately know, he was a third-round pick out of Nebraska, and he played for this and started. You learn more about those players in 15 seconds than we learn about a player in a whole match in tennis. And now, granted, they have 100 players to choose from, but to me, that makes it even worse. We should know everything about Albot after this match. I should know, who his coach is, where he's playing, everything.
You should, exactly. You should know that his Twitter handle is Radu Albot.
Right.
You should know that
what racket he uses,
that he is that he's from Moldova.
That's right. Yeah, I did remember that.
You should know that he's 101.75 meters tall. What? You should know that his career prize money is $714,000.
Yeah.
You should know that he is the top Moldovan in ATP ranking history, career high 81 in 2017.
And he's getting close to that now.
You should know that, you get my point?
Yeah.
That I can know all this and I don't know it.
Right.
There's a media guide for every professional tennis player in the world.
And we don't know. You don't know what match necessarily.
Jeremy Shardy lives in London, England. Did you know that?
I did not.
Why would you? Because these idiots don't talk about it. How about Damir Zumor? Where do you think he lives? Who cares?
Right.
But I'll tell you, he's 150 pounds.
But if you expect people to be interested in the matches, you have to give them information about the players. Otherwise, they have no reason to care about it. And that's the thing that tennis, they would spend. And again, they'll probably spend the next match. Whoever Federer's playing, they're going to spend 90% of the time talking about Federer. Well, I think we already know, most of the stuff you're going to say about Federer. He had cereal for breakfast this morning before this match. It's just crazy to me how they don't get into.
How about Milos Raonic? Career win-loss versus top 10. It's 26-54.
Yeah.
It's not hard. If I can figure this out, and I don't even know how to use a computer. How about this? Tennis Sangren. Kidding. Now let's find Jack Sock.
Is he still on the ATP site?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But no, I think it's
Jack Sock.
And they have a staff.
Kansas City, Kansas.
There you go.
God, I hate the Chiefs.
They have a staff of, I know you're happy today about the football news.
I didn't hear it.
Gronkowski retired.
Oh. Good.
So, anyway.
So did the tight end for the Cowboys. He's back.
Yeah. Well, that's why the Patriots tried to trade him last year and get picks for nothing. They knew he was going to retire, and they tried to get something out of that.
But I digress.
Yes.
Career high for Jack Sock.
Don't say it. Weakest era. That might be the longest of the show we've gone without saying that.
Why is his highest ATB ranking 8 and it's got an asterisk? The
asterisk at the bottom says weakest era in men's tennis.
It should. All right, let's see what his record is against top 10. What do you think it is? He's played 31 matches versus top 10.
Oh, God.
So it could be
38?
31.
Oh, 31. 6-25.
Not bad. You're close. 9-22.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
No, it's not. Not when you're top 8.
That's true.
Unbelievable. So anyway, so the point being is, yes, that there are some commentators that a lot of people like, but I think that's because the bar is so low.
Yeah.
It's so low.
Well, and I think all the commentators have their own strength, or weakness, but like Anacone is going to get into the X's and O's of a match, which I like, but you've got to have someone to compliment him that's going to get into the background of the players or the personality of the players or give personality, because he's not going to do that.
That's why I thought, again, this is me reaching, and it's only based on the group of people that we have available now. So obviously, the Tennis Revolution would be the first choice, my first choice for commentators. But based on the group we have available, somebody that would be good with Paul Anacone.
Check out the big brain on
Brad.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes. Yes.
He'd be good with anyone.
Pulp Fiction. No, the big brain on Brad was the clue.
Yeah.
Brad Gilbert, you would think that he'd be able to bring a little personality, get it going up there, because Paul Anacone's pretty dry.
And even though they're both coaches, Brad rarely gets into the strategy or what the player, that kind of thing. He gets
win
more
ugly.
into the.
He just tells them win ugly.
Yeah. I think Mary Carrillo would be good with Anacone too, because she's going to get into more of the human interest stuff, or she can.
Why? Because she's a girl?
No, she just has done little pieces like that.
Trying to set you up. He's trying to set you up.
But did you hear the whole crux of my argument last week? Or not the argument, but just the facts.
Let me just say I heard it. I didn't listen. Can I be honest with you? What was your situation?
Just how awful that the Americans were last week.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right, we've rambled about general things.
Right.
And made a plug for the Tennis Revolution to be a part of broadcasting.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and actually talk about real tennis. A little bit about last week, your comments, and talk about Miami. And we'll do that when we come back.
It's time to join the revolution. Go to our website, tennisrevolutionpodcast.com, to get the latest episodes, email us your questions and comments, or give us show ideas.
So yes, during the break, I went ahead and listened to your podcast. You all right? You fell out of your chair. You fell out of your chair over there. So we thought we had a shot with the women,
right,
in terms of saving American tennis. But what's happened? I mean, it's maybe we were a little overzealous in proclaiming, the strength of American women. Now, I still think the strength of women overall, has a chance to sort of prop up tennis generally when the big three go, or two of the big three, because nobody likes Djokovic. But in America, without Americans at the top, will it hold? I don't know.
Well, and it's almost like today, the only American we could watch was Venus, and I'm not saying she's pathetic, but it's kind of pathetic that we're having to watch Venus still as our American hope, and hope she does well. I think Sloane is still in, but it's just depressing that that's who we're still hanging on to.
We got Isner.
Well, I was talking about women's, but yes.
I see.
Yeah, he's the only shot. I mean, Tiafoe, I don't know if he won last night. He won the first set, but I'm just not seeing it. And I know people think he's the next big thing in America. I just don't see it. I really don't. And my friend has a good line. He says, maybe once he learns how to walk, then he can be a good tennis player.
That's not nice.
But he just walks so strangely. I don't see any men right now that I'm excited about. And there's so many young men on the tour that are exciting, and none of them are American.
Yes, he did win 6-6
And he beat a decent guy, another up-and-comer.
Against a wild card.
Yeah.
He beat a wild card.
But that guy's young and he's improving.
Yeah, And now he faces the 2 seed. Oh, wait. No. Sorry.
If that wasn't an example of your argument last night, I don't know what is. Zverev, that's what's so great about your argument. You always have Zverev to confirm it.
Bring it on home.
How is he 2 in the world? I do not know how. He loses early in every tournament. I think he plays 50 tournaments a year and just gets 50 points in every tournament. One round.
From the Gronkowski of tennis. Gronkowski finally retired, I guess.
Yeah.
Ferrer hasn't. Or he has, but this is his farewell tour again.
So they said, I heard his official retirement is supposed to be in Madrid. But I'm like, how can you retire at Madrid 2 weeks before the French? I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Although right now his ranking's not even good enough to get into the French, but it might be after that win.
Guarantee you they give him a wild card.
Yeah, of course.
Sakes.
And so, unless he just doesn't want to deal with 3 out of 5, which just seems like a logical possibility.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. So, no, I agree with you on the American side of things. Of course, we knew that on the men, and we were hanging our hat, so to speak, on the women's side, and we're on the brink on the women's side. I mean, we're waiting for D.C., Danielle Collins, to keep on.
She had a bad loss today.
Yes, to keep on kind of edging up.
But she's not even, she could be an up-and-comer, but it's hard to say someone that's like 24 or 25 and is up-and-comer.
Maybe, but she can still break through and still be, a mainstay in the top 15.
Right.
That's all right with me.
Yeah.
If we have 5 in the top 15, I think women's tennis is solid.
Yeah.
As long as it's not 15, 14, 13, 12. It'd be nice to have some sprinkled in the top.
Well, I think you're like me. All you want is someone
not
in the quarters that has a chance. Like, you have to be there to have a chance. And in any Wells, we didn't have anybody there.
Yeah, and I don't care about rankings per se.
No.
It's just from the standpoint of exactly what you just said, is that having people, dotted in the top 10, top 15, it means, they're playing it at a high enough level to compete with other people competing at a high level who have chances to win tournaments and ultimately Grand Slams, of course.
Well, because so much of the ranking is not getting injured and playing often. Like, you could make the third round, I bet, of 30 tournaments and probably be top 10.
I could. Appreciate that.
So like you said, the ranking is not the determining factor. It's, do you have a chance to go deep in a big tournament? And I'm not sure who does right now for the men or the women, except for maybe Sloane.
Yeah.
But she's so up and down. It's hard to be a fan of hers.
Yeah, I know, because she's so in and out. And Keys, too. I'm not excited about Keys anymore.
I jumped off the bandwagon just in time with her because she is completely collapsed. Anyway, the second point of last week was, I said that, and tell me if you agree with this, that American players do not want to rally. If you think of the style of play of every American player, it's first strike, try to win the point in the first 2 shots.
Well, that traditionally has been, quote-unquote, American hardcourt tennis since the 90s.
Yeah. And I just don't know that works anymore. Because think of all the best players, all the top 10 players, men and women, none of them play that way. Federer is the only one that you could potentially say plays that way, but that's new.
You talking about men or women?
Both.
Well, it's different, though.
Yeah, well, but
because
I think it works even less on the women's.
But the amount of power you need on the men is supplied by the fact that men are bigger and stronger. Sorry, I'm apologizing. Hashtag y'all too. And so I guess the power is easier to come by, and power with being able to maintain some level of consistency, because again, the length of the court's the same, the ball weight's the same, gravity's the same, the height of the net's the same, and so you still have to hit a ball in a certain direction within a framework of the lines to get it past somebody. Well, you got guys that are bigger and stronger that can hit harder, but you also have guys that can hit or they can catch up to it because they're faster,
right,
and can cover more ground. And on the women's side, I would say that the reason it might look worse is they can't cover as much. But the power, the equipment, and all the rest of it, the power is helpful. But maybe because they're less physicality than the men, they can't keep the consistency as much.
But if you name, as far as I can tell, if you name all the players that play that style, they're not the players that are winning in the men's or the women's. And that may be a fairly recent development, but the players that are winning are the ones that are extremely good defensive players, and can withstand the power of other players. Like Halep, Wozniacki, now Andreescu, obviously Djokovic, Nadal, Federer. You're not seeing Raonic and even Thiem. You're not seeing Raonic or Isner or Muguruza or Sharapova anymore. The people are just hitting 2 shots and winning the points.
Right. And I think that's probably the women catching up physically to the ball.
Yeah.
But, if you think about the top players, they all have the ability to do it. But then you think about the ones that struggle and they just won't.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Kyrgios. I mean, he wants to be spectacular all the time.
Yeah.
And how much does he grind? How much does he want to grind? Think about David Ferrer. Right. He loves to grind.
Yeah.
I mean, that he loves that. I guess I've never met the guy. We've been through this discussion before, but but you watch him play, and it's like he takes pride in the fact that you can't hit him off the court, that you can't get the ball by him, and I don't know if a lot of people are willing to accept that mentality.
Well, and he played Querrey first round, and obviously Querrey's gone downhill, but then again, so is Ferrer. So you have polar opposite styles playing each other, and Ferrer killed him like 2-2.
Yeah.
So just that, I just don't know if that style is working anymore, and it seems like the Americans aren't, for the most part, willing to change it. And if they can't win on American hard courts, where are they going to win? Grass, I guess, is a possibility.
But that's only, yeah.
Because it's only going to get worse when we go to clay. If we can't get a player in the quarters on an American hard court, I'm just preparing everybody for the worst, which I think is yet to come.
And listen, the romance of, Paris, and again, we've talked about this, the glamorous cities that the clay courts are in and all that, and you love it. But you can't love it for your own countries if you're American. I mean, we have obviously international listeners too. But, yeah, I mean, again, we say it. I don't know if we talk enough about it, but then again, we can't. And that is, selling American tennis, and the fact that this podcast is about that. But the problem is we suck. We suck at tennis.
When we want to root for American players, but they have to be still in the tournament.
Yeah, just think if this podcast was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And we were talking about other players and American players, it would be a blast.
Right.
And unfortunately, we suck. But I think we both love tennis enough and can appreciate different players. I mean, what Osaka brings to the table in terms of her all-around game is fun.
Right.
I just wish, she basically is American, but whatever. That's a whole separate issue.
But when you look at like the last 10 amazing male American players, there was a huge variety of playing style between Roddick and Agassi and McEnroe, Sampras, Connor. I mean, you had all different styles of play in that list. And now you list the top 10 Americans, they all play the exact same way, except for Isner, who's just his own, style.
Yeah, and Querrey's kind of an Isner type.
And so is Opelka. I mean,
anybody that's over 6'5",
they don't really have a choice.
6'6", yeah, they don't have a choice.
But yeah, I just think we're a long way away from that next big American player, which is depressing.
Yeah, I agree. Now, again, there's a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old I don't know about, that you don't know about. But yeah, I mean, maybe I wonder where it comes from, because one area it could come from would be the juniors. If you have the ability to utilize power and you win that way, you never have to do anything else.
Right.
And then it catches up to you and you hit a brick wall.
I think that's what happened to Keys.
And probably Tiafoe.
Yeah.
He's able to do some things coming up through juniors, and then he hits a brick wall. Well, a brick wall. He's still,
right,
whatever.
Top 40.
Right now, but then again, Sock was top 8, so you tell me. But he's a perfect example. I mean, what does he do? He tries to hit inside-out forehands, but he's too goofy.
And big serves.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens is after you might have a good year or two and people figure out, if I just keep the ball in play deep, 5, 6, 7 times in a row, I'm probably going to win the point. Not that it's that easy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah.
it really is.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about somebody who will self-destruct 5 balls in, and because you watch a and again, I got to talk about him because he's going to be retiring soon in the next 8 months. But you watch Ferrer play, and you're not on the edge of your seat when you're watching a rally with him, and it's the 5th ball.
Right.
But if a sock, stop using sock. But let's just use sock for now. But in a sock rally or a keys rally, if it's the 5th ball, you are on the edge of your seat because something's about to happen because she can't take it.
Right.
Whereas Frey, you're like, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, keep going. 10. Turn the channel. 11. Come back. 15, 17. Go get a drink. 19, 27. It's like, okay, 38-ball rally. Oh, look, the other guy collapsed in the heat.
But this as a player and a coach. To me, there's nothing worse than being in a match and realizing that you can't win a rally against somebody, because then the pressure's on you every point to finish the point.
True.
And I feel like every American is in that situation against a lot of other players.
Are they in that situation? So are they in that situation physically? So stamina-wise, do you think?
In general, no, I wouldn't say it's that. I think it's more of a mentality. I mean, there's certainly some. Obviously, Isner is not trying to rally all day from a stamina perspective.
Yeah. About anything. No. When you start talking about this stuff, it's a whole, he's an exception to all the.
But no, I think, there's definitely Americans that are in as good a shape as, other top players.
But it's all relative because we're talking about small percentages of differences, and those manifest themselves, a lot over time in a match at that level. So that's the first aspect is can they handle it physically from the physiological standpoint. The other side of that is can they handle that technically? So from the physical side in terms of technique. And you look at somebody like Tiafoe, who's got quite an extensive forehand swing pattern.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to go wrong. It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so maybe that's where he breaks down. Although he never looks great after a long rally.
Right.
But and then the other side of it is the mental side, and by that I mean strategy. Are they even being taught coming up to do this? Do they want to do this? Are their coaches suggesting they try to do this? And then the last one is emotional. Can they sustain that level of consistency in terms of their footwork, in terms of their stroke pattern, in terms of the discipline to not, make silly shot selections? I mean, you think back to Roddick. I mean, he had a huge serve.
Right.
And it was a difference maker against every player on the tour.
Yeah.
I mean, he I don't know if he still holds a record, but it was 155.
He doesn't still, but he did for a long time.
Yeah. What's the record now?
165.
Are you kidding me?
Well, it's a little bit questionable because it was at like a small tournament. But
anyway, so you take somebody like Roddick. His backhand was not like Djokovic's backhand.
Right.
His forehand was not like Nadal's forehand.
Yeah.
His volleys were pretty decent except for that one backhand volley at Wimbledon. Oh, man. I really do think, besides him, his wife, and his mother, I'm the only other person that still feels bad about that volley, almost as bad as those three. So you think about his matches. If you can think back to Roddick's matches, mid to early 2000s, I mean, he could always be in long rallies with no problem.
That's what I was wondering if you were getting to. I never worried about him in a rally.
Except that dumb visor. Other than that.
I never thought, he's in a rally, we're in trouble. Like, I always thought he's in a rally, no big deal.
And he would work his butt off, and so he had from the mental side, he had the strategy to do it because he knew, first of all, big serve, so I'm going to try to dictate on serve games. But returns, I'm going to stay in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in here and make them work on their serves. So, his mentally in terms of his strategy, and then emotionally, he can handle it. He was a fighter. He was a baller. That's why I said, please come back, Roddick. You could be top 30 right now. I mean, not now. I mean, you got to put some work in. But you could be top 30, no question.
Well, and what you said about they taught that way, that's such a foreign question to me, because that's the first thing as a player I tried to do, even knowing very little about tennis. And it's the first thing I teach people is you've got to be able to get the ball back 5 times minimum before you do anything crazy.
One more time than your opponent is the minimum.
Well, and then, in every match you play, your first goal is to figure out, am I more consistent than the other person? And if I am, I'm just going to win that way. I don't need to do anything else. Yeah.
I mean, everything boils down to consistency, because I don't care if you have a Delpo forehand. I think the fastest recorded forehand, maybe.
Probably.
I mean, 1-0 something. So if he's hitting forehands like that, but he can do it consistently, and consistently means consistently out of the times he attempts it. Not obviously you can't hit that shot off of every shot, but if you're hitting the right ones at the right times and you can do it consistently, then hit that shot. That's your shot. But if you're like Jack Sock and you're trying to run around your forehand, but you're a little pudgy and you're slow, and you have that dumb beard and no mustache, you look ridiculous. I don't know what that has to do with his head. And then you shank a I picture him shank. I don't want to talk about it. But
the problem is we have 100 people that play like Del Potro, and there's only one Del Potro. That's the thing.
That is true as well.
So, I mean, like you said, play that way if you've got the game, but you have to realize when it's not working, even for that particular match or game, like, okay, let's actually rally and wait till I get an easy ball, then I can go for it.
Right.
And it makes it here's the conclusion. It makes American players hard to watch. And I feel like right now there's no American player that anybody's super excited to watch.
Well, of course, again, you have to take out the tall ones.
Right, because they don't have a choice.
They have limited mobility already, and they also have such a huge advantage.
And by the way, if I was coaching Isner, I would say the complete opposite. I would say the points for you need to be as short as possible.
Oh, yeah.
3-shot maximum.
All of them.
Yeah, so I'm not saying everybody should play this way.
Yeah, if you get to 30-15 on the return game, work hard.
Right.
If you get down 30-love, I want you to lob the next 3 returns. You just see if you can make the guy fall down.
Or just let the 2 go for an ace and just move on.
Yeah. A la Sampras, the greatest player in the history of the game, basically did that. If he could get a lead, he would push, and if not, he would cruise on his serve. And what makes Isner not be able to cruise on his serve?
You expending too much energy on the return games. He gets tired. Right.
And where does he get tired? Trying to be a hero on the first return game of a match.
Yeah, he has the opposite problem. He tries to rally way too much. He tries to rally in matches when he doesn't need to be rallying.
So, so American. So he's the top American right now at number 9. And again, he's maintained that, but mainly because of his unbreakable serve. Right. I mean, the percentage of matches he plays 7-6, 6-7, 7-6 are pitiful. The next best American.
It might be Tiafoe.
It is Tiafoe.
What is he, 30 now?
31?
31.
And so, he's got, like, body-wise, I mean, he's right in that sweet spot. He's, I don't know exactly how tall he is, but
he's got to be around 6'1", I would think.
Maybe a little taller, but either way, and it's like, okay, so he's, but he's got, the funky strokes, which I don't care what anybody says, that's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And so the next American's been around a while, Stevie Johnson. He's at 38. I think he's maxed out. He's 29 years old.
Right.
So then you got some youngsters. You got Taylor Fritz and Riley Opelka. Again, they're both tall. How tall is Taylor Fritz? Do you know?
Probably 6'4", around that.
That's not too bad.
6'5", maybe. And he's the one of all of them that probably has the most potential because he can play a baseline game and he's got a big serve, so he's got a little bit of both. And
then you got Riley Opelka, who's 9'8".
Yeah, he's just the next Isner, but maybe not as good. We'll see.
Well, he beat him, recently, but he's 21. Then you got Mackenzie McDonald. So now he's on the way up. He's only 23, so he kind of is coming along later than the other guys. that are around his age.
He's a baseline player.
And he's a short guy, so he's going to have lack of power might be his issue. He's 5'10". But again, I think you're exactly right. The guys like that, I can just picture him making a ton of unforced errors.
Yeah, and who are the guys on that list that I want to watch in a match?
Well, hold on, I'm not done. We got Sam Querrey, Dennis Kudla, Tennis Sandgren, and Bradley Klon. That's the top 100.
Yeah.
Those are the top Americans in the top 100.
And there's nobody there that I'm just really dying to see, from an entertainment aspect.
I'm going to say something right now, and it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, and I don't care. The perfect package of a men's tennis player. That doesn't sound good at all. The perfect conglomeration of characteristics of
the total package.
There we go. What am I doing?
What do you talk about on this week's show? The perfect package.
I've been away a while. Okay. So
getting this confused with his other podcast.
Hey.
You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up.
Now, and that is Djokovic.
Right.
He has the court coverage of Nadal, but better.
Right.
He's got the safety in terms of enough spin on both sides of a Nadal, but he can also flatten a la Federer. His serve is not overwhelming, but it's more than adequate and improving.
Right.
So he gets aces, but he's also extremely consistent. He's got the stamina of, I was going to say a gazelle, but I don't think they have stamina. Whatever has stamina.
Right.
What animal has stamina?
Good question.
I don't know.
A camel. I don't know.
Yeah, walking across the desert. Why not? He never gets thirsty. No, and he's disciplined. He doesn't go for a lot of dumb shots.
No, he doesn't. In fact, he goes for too many drop shots, but he knows how to stop doing it when they're not working.
Right. His backhand, he can take both. He can change directions on both sides.
Yeah.
What are his volleys like? Probably the weakest part of his game.
Yeah, and he doesn't, most of the time when he's coming in, it's to clean up an easy put away. Right. So, he doesn't come in unless he has an easy shot.
Right. That'd be the only piece he's missing. But, and also the return game. He is not an idiot on the return. He doesn't just close his eyes and wail at it and try to hit winners off the, return right away. Now, he can.
Well, that's the funny thing, too. If you looked at stats, I guarantee of the top 20 players, they probably all are in the top 20 in return, game percentage one. And name an American player who's a really good returner. I can't think of any.
Yeah. So
they're all about holding serve, which is great, but every top player holds serve.
Yeah.
So
all
that's
right,
not as meaningful.
You want to talk about some actual tennis?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
When I talk about Bianca.
Let me tell you something. She is shot out of the rocket ship, like a rocket or something. What am I saying?
She's going up.
But out of 2019, boom.
Well, and she did the one thing we always say that nobody ever does, which is she won a big event or won a big match, and then came up and won two more immediately after.
So in other words, success, sustained.
Right.
Sustained. That's what I was looking for. Sustained success.
Yeah, I think she beat 3 or 4 top 10 players, and then she turned around. She's playing Kerber. There's no way she's going to win. She's going to be tired. She's played so much tennis. She's never had this success before, and she beat Kerber again for the second time. So I'm super impressed.
No, it's been good. She's fun to watch, and she is competing, beating some of the best players. And you know what the worst part about her is?
She's not American.
I was going to say she's Canadian, but
close.
Typically, you're just supposed to say, I don't know.
No, that was the whole thing last week. Canada has better prospects than we do now.
It's been a week. We haven't been together, so I know the chemistry sort of fades a little. We got to get it back.
But Canada has better prospects than we do now.
Yeah.
They've got Felix and her and Shapovalov, and we have nothing.
I don't like it.
It depresses me.
I don't like it.
But what you talked about 2 weeks ago, the eyeball test, all three of those players passed that test. And the ones that are hyped up as Americans, none of them passed that test, in my opinion. Like, you could tell Andreescu, when I finally got to watch her play, which I honestly didn't much at Indian Wells, I saw her play this week more. She has all the shots already, and she's 18.
Yeah.
And, most players don't have all the shots when they're 25. She's got drop shots and slice and lobs and everything.
Yeah, she's, 5'7", so she's right in that sweet spot on the women's side, size-wise, big enough to have some power, but small enough to be able to move and all the rest of it. Her year-to-date prize money, $1.48 million.
Well, I think she got 1.3 for Indian Wells.
Exactly. Career prize money, a $1.7 million. So you do the math.
Yeah, she didn't get a bye. Even in this tournament, she didn't get a bye. So her seeding, she still wasn't seeded for this tournament, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't even think she was barely in direct entry into this Indian Wells.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was in qualifying earlier this year in other tournaments.
So prior to this year, she's made $215,000. Not bad. You make that, in a month, but she's exciting. And again, I'm not a complete homer for America. I am,
right.
But I can at least appreciate things and watch players. And it just infuriates me that it's Canada.
Because it's a rival or so
one
close
more.
to us? Or
just
because
one more on top of the already...
Or because it's snowing up there always and they're better than us at tennis somehow.
No, yeah. Their weather sucks. Their accent's stupid. They have a whole section of them that's French that hates the rest of them. And yet they don't care. All their players are coming together as one. Because, Felix is, all French and whatnot.
Yeah, and he just won, by the way, so he's now in the round of 16.
Wonderful.
As
just
a 17-year-old,
wonderful.
Either 17 or 18. So yeah, it's, those two players will easily be top 20, if not better. I think top 20 is even being modest. I would say they're top 10 potential in the next couple of years. So Canada could have two players in the top 10, and we conceivably could have zero easily. I don't see.
Yeah,
Isner is not that far, from being done.
Right.
And then we obviously Serena and Venus can't be playing that much longer.
We're doomed, man. We are doomed.
And so our choice is to just suffer or to adopt those players as North Americans. And
why don't we just invade Canada and take over?
Yeah,
King of the North.
But I love watching those two players. Now, obviously, I'm just getting to know. Probably the three I'm most excited about now are Osaka, Felix, and now Bianca, and none of them are American.
Well, are you over Tsitsipas?
No, I guess I was going to say he's last year, but I don't mean he's old news. But excited to see what their potential is.
Okay.
To me, I already know his potential is
I got
top
so
5.
Now you're on potential watch for him. It's like, all right, we've established he's a guy that can do that. Will he do it? And now you're looking at these youngsters as they could be the ones that I expect to do it. And will they? I see what you're saying.
And obviously, it's easy to jump on the Bianca bandwagon. She just won a 1,000, so it's not like I'm going out on a limb by saying she's going to be amazing. But I just think that it's pretty crazy how it's finally happening where the younger generation is proving what we've been saying, that they could surpass that previous generation at any time. Did Team's victory do anything to change your opinion on that?
Did he win something? No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. First of all, the tricky position is now, are the old guys getting too old, and when's that cliff going to happen?
Right.
And it could be getting close.
Yeah, because Federer has not looked good the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Which is, not looked good, and he makes the finals, and he's still in this tournament.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, all right. So, on the women's side, Osaka's out now.
Serena's out.
Serena's out. So, are you, you're in love with Andreescu, or is that who you're picking?
No, I still think that, if she were to come out of nowhere.
Let me just say this. Let me read the matchups and tell me which is better. So,
okay.
All right, the top half. We've got on the top line, the top match on the top half. All right, we've got Sue Shea against Wozniacki.
Which will be interesting just because of the way Shea plays.
Extremely interesting.
Yeah.
Because usually if you're playing a big hitter and you're a crafty player like Shui, now that's an opposites.
Right.
But you've got Wozniacki who can stay out there for months.
Yeah.
And so that could not go well for Shui.
Right.
She'll end up forcing. But anyway, still, that matchup, you've got...
That could be 3 hours or it could be a beatdown by Wozniacki.
So you've got Andreescu and Konovate, and just because the Bianca factor. Now you've got Caroline Garcia and Kvitova.
Okay.
Ash Barty and Kiki Bertens.
Yeah, so that's more.
So the next potential
unknown.
are Pliskova and Sevastova if they both win. Mertens and Stevens if they both win. You've got the two Wangs. Unfortunately, Collins and Williams are out in that one.
Yeah, so we had a Collins-Williams potential. We ended up with Wang.
Yeah. And then a potential of Kasatkina and Halep.
And Halep won today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about Venus? Did she beat Kasatkina?
She was in the third last I saw,
Okay.
so it's probably over now.
But in any event, you got Halep and potentially V. Will.
Yeah.
Now,
oh, yeah, she won, actually, so it is Halep and Venus.
Okay, now listen to the men. You got potentially Djokovic, Fognini, which could be fun just because Fognini.
And they just played doubles together at Indian Wells.
Yep. Edmund beat Raonic, so you got Edmund and Isner. Boring.
Yeah.
Potential, I don't know. Again, we don't know who won yet. You got potential of FAA and Bashavashvili, which
They both won, so they're playing each other.
So it'd be fun just for the Felix factor, but that's not a great.
No.
So that's two that aren't good. So how about Borna Coric? Did he beat Shardy?
I didn't see that yet.
And then Kyrgios potentially against Lejovic.
I think he's playing later.
All right, so Kyrgios just because he's an idiot factor.
Right.
But that's who cares? Borna Coric?
Yeah.
Nothing. All right, Kevin Anderson and Dimitrov potentially. Medvedev and Federer. That could be fun.
That
A
could be
young guy
interesting.
with Federer, yeah.
Power player.
Yep. Tsitsipas and Shapovalov, if they both won, that could be fun.
That would totally be interesting.
Yep. Cecchinato and Tiafoe.
No.
Not really.
And see, that they're going to show that because he's American, and you just listed 8 other matches I'd rather see.
But all the men's were crap, though.
Right.
I mean, there's still a lot of crap.
Well, yeah,
matches.
I mean, between women and men. So they're going to be stuck watching that just because he's American.
Yeah, so... All right. Well, we don't want to predict. You are over predictions. So
I don't think Andreescu, just because to literally come out of nowhere and win 2 Masters back to back, that would be...
She's still learning, so you can't... Yeah,
that would be insane.
For sure. So, so we won't make predictions, but it'll be fun to talk about next week, and we'll get into what happens, and hopefully some of the players we think are going to be, the next up-and-comers that you don't know if they're the Tsitsipas types. It'll be fun to see how they... have traversed this week and a half. So,
I want to give you a mini corner real quick.
Okay.
Some people call this Andreescu win the greatest moment in Canadian tennis history.
Ugh.
What is a bigger moment, winning Indian Wells or making a Grand Slam final? We had Raonic made the Wimbledon final.
Yeah, but
Bouchard made the Wimbledon final.
And they had no chance. And
well, I mean, Raonic played Murray. He should have had a chance.
Well, yeah, but Bouchard
and
fell
I know
off
who
a
Bouchard
cliff.
played, yeah, but
she fell off a cliff, and that's why people have such short memory.
Yeah, but to me though, making a Wimbledon final is way bigger than winning Indian Wells.
Agreed, absolutely.
So I was kind of shocked that people were saying that because I'm like, wait, not these people made the or not Raonic? Yeah, Raonic. These people made Wimbledon final. How is this bigger?
Right.
And I guess you lost your last match, but
you won something at Indian Wells.
But I mean, talk about attention, even prize money, ranking. I mean, that's way bigger. Yeah. Now, if she were to win both back to back, that would be a bigger achievement. At the
same time, not at the same time, but in the same year,
right?
Then I don't think people would have said that. But it's been a while. Bouchard sort of sputtering, trying to come back. And,
right.
Raonic is sort of stalled where he's been. So
and Raonic lost kind of meekly.
Right.
So I mean,
I agree that making a Grand Slam final is bigger,
and even more so because it's Wimbledon, which is the most visible.
Right.
I mean,
the granddaddy.
As much as we love Indian Wells, I'm sure way more people watch Wimbledon final than they watch Indian Wells final.
Right. So, all right.
Easy discussion.
I'm glad to be back. I don't know if I'm sure you're glad I'm back.
Yes.
I know the listeners are glad I'm back.
I'm expecting our listenership to quintuple next week.
I don't know what that means, and I don't think you do either, but I'm glad you said it. All right, anything else?
That's it.
Fantastic. Great to be back. And tennis is rocking. It's the season now, baby. It's going and moving and grooving. Can't wait till Clay. We're stuck with the one more weekend of hard court.
Let's adopt another country before the clay court season starts.
Yes, great idea. Great idea. I'm renouncing my tennis citizenship.
Just for a month or two.
Yeah. So, all right. Until next time, thanks for joining the revolution.
Bye, guys.
Bianca.